Hello everybody. I started a little bit early because I wanted to make sure the signal was good. Let me pull up on my phone as well, because last time we had issues. We are having a little bit of a storm today, so I'm hoping everything will be good. So anyways, I know it's kind of last, but I really wanted to do this one with you, is our cute little firecracker trio or firework trio. So this is what it looks like. I did go ahead and put a stencil on it because I painted it twice with the white primer, or when I say primer, I'm just meaning acrylic, white acrylic paint. I use apple barrel for this one just because most of the time I only just need a quick coat. But when I know that there's going to be a lot of white, like the stars and stuff like that, I go ahead and put 2 coats down. It just makes it a little bit easier, and then you guys don't have to watch me paint white, because I think painting white can be kind of boring unless it's highlights. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera down. Okay. So make sure you pop in and say hello when you're in here. This new dashboard is like throwing me off. So anyways, oh, there's where you can see comments. Okay. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna start with Fire Red. I'll go ahead and tell you what colors actually I've got here. So we've got Drizzle Gray, of course, always my favorite. I'm gonna try this new blue. It's called Ultra Blue I picked up. There's Crocus Yellow, and then just normal yellow. I'm gonna use this more as a highlight for some shading, and then we're gonna do the Fire Red. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started with Fire Red first. I might have to sneak in my supply. I didn't realize how low I was on this. And let me see. Let's go ahead and start painting some red here. So I am using a 3/8 of an angle brush. I'm just loaded the brush here, getting a nice line, and then we can smooth that out. So if you guys are having problems with it kind of clumping on your line, don't get as much on your brush. And if you kind of start over here and then go into your line, that helps a little bit too, with not getting as much when you're doing those nice lines. So we'll just round there. So I hope everybody's doing good tonight. And you guys are finding me. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead here. Clean that up. Now red sometimes can show a little bit of highlight splotchiness with that first coat. So we will need to go ahead and add a second coat to the red. Red's just one of those colors I've noticed is never a one and done, a one coat and you're done. You always kind of have to apply that second coat just to make it nice and smooth looking and everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that, and then I'm thinking what we'll do. Let's see. I think we'll do the red and white stripes here. But on this red and white stripe, I think what we're gonna do is add a little blue line through it too, just to kind of give it some flair and some fun. Maybe even throw in some gray. I also included the template again. I did use the shorting code, so let me know if the short URL code isn't working for you guys, then I can post the long one as well. Hey Kathy and Mel, what's up ladies? It is so funny, it's not showing you guys on here. Oh, there we go. How are you all doing? Okay, just smoothing that one out. All right, I better be careful. Hey Nancy, how are you, hon? It feels like it's been a while since I talked to you all. With Memorial Holiday, it made it so we didn't get to have fun with you guys. Okay. So now we're just going to take this stripe, go straight in. Now, if you notice your paint or you can't keep that curve, just go out straight and then you can come back and with the curve and move again with it. Don't try and fight your hand. If it's just not feeling comfortable, stop what you're doing, go out straight, and then you can come back in. Because you'll end up dragging your brush and it won't look smooth. And that's what I found a lot of people were saying that they have a hard time with, is getting those straight lines. And a lot of the time it's just because you're not fighting, you're fighting the motion of your hand. All right, so we're gonna smooth that one out. What y'all thinking? I am not liking this new way of doing lives. It's throwing me off. How is my house coming along? We got cabinets in, but they messed up a little bit on the kitchen cabinets. So they have to order new ones, which they said they don't think it will be too big of a delay. Since our house is basically they haven't built this house before. It's a new model that they just did. So there's a little bit of hang-ups that way that they just messed up on. But you know, the vanities and everything are in. They got the tile, I believe, all done now. The master, I think they had to grout, but they probably did that today, because the last time I checked on it was Sunday, early Sunday, so they could have even done it yesterday and I didn't even know. But and then they also got our AC in, so I was really excited about that. So we're in those final stages. Still no move-in date. They haven't given us a closing date yet, but I think we're getting close. At least that's what I keep telling myself. But thanks for asking, I appreciate it. My phone does not want to even try to keep up with these. Right? Yes, there's always hang-ups. And honestly, I have to say we've been very fortunate. Our house is kind of just seemed like it's moved along really well, so I hope I'm not jinxing myself by saying that, but we've been very fortunate that way. So hopefully it will keep continuing. All right, you guys, I'm just throwing on that second coat. I know on the camera it looks really good. I'll bring up where you guys can see what I'm talking about, how it kind of gets a blotchy look. So I can show you what the second coat looks like versus not having it. It just gives you a nice cleaner look with your paint. Let me smooth this out real quick and then we can show you. All right, so this is, if you can see there, you can kind of see a little bit of blotchiness. That's one coat. And then with that second coat, it makes it really clear. So same here, one coat and then two coats. You can kind of see blotchy, not so blotchy. So that's what I was kind of meaning. But I really do think that I'm really hopeful that we will be probably moving in the end of July is what I'm thinking, which they quoted us July, August when we signed the contract, so they're definitely staying on point. So, hey Dawn, I see that you popped on. How are you, hon? I'm so excited to see you and the ladies that are close to North Carolina that are coming to Sims. It will be so fun. I'm excited to get away for a little bit. All right, just getting that little stripe here, and then we'll get this one. So you guys, I do have a little bit of weather going on today, so if things start getting weird, I do have it recording, so just an FYI for y'all. Okay, red is done. And of course, I got way more than what I needed, but we can always put it back. You guys, I'm so excited. The orange that I love for fall and everything finally came in stock. I had to go right straight to Plaid. It's the paint company that makes the paint that I like, the Delta paint, but they got it in stock, so I was able to get it. It's called Bittersweet Orange. It's my favorite orange for fall, and they finally got it back in stock. So I was so excited. I'm not sure what the heck is going on there. Okay. My phone's being weird again. Okay, there we go. All right, so Ultra Blue. This is a new blue that I haven't tried before. So we're gonna try it, see how we like it. It's looking really cute. Kind of like a cobalty blue. It's a little bit different than that Blue Bayou that I normally like to use. It's a little bit lighter, a little brighter. The Blue Bayou kind of is a little bit darker. So I'm just cleaning this brush real quick. I'm using that 5/8 angle brush, and I'm using the set that comes from Walmart, and it's in the kids section, the kids paint brushes. It's a Royal brand. I've been really liking these ones. If you have a problem with your brushes being a little bit too big, these ones just seem really perfect for my hand. So I really like these. As I say that, I think I'm gonna have to use a little bit smaller for the stars, but we'll go ahead and do the blue here and the blue down here. Or you know what? I think it'd be cute if we did blue here. Maybe. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where I want all the blue at. Okay. So we're just going to round. I loaded the brush here, rounding my brush, moving straight out. This is definitely going to need 2 coats. I can tell that already. So the one reason that I like Blue Bayou is it is a one and done kind of blue. So this one, we will definitely need to test it. But it's appearing to be a 2 coats. But I really do like the color. The color is gorgeous. What do y'all think? Okay. Let me get this one here. So I've been sketching a lot lately and working on some fall stuff. If you guys were on the business call, I did show you our next project for next week. We're going to be doing an acorn, which I'm super excited about. We'll be doing some lettering on it as well. Okay, so we've got that. We're gonna go here. I think I'm gonna go here. Call me crazy, but we're gonna go here. Okay, so I'm just loading my brush, loading especially where the edge of the brush is, going straight through here, and then cleaning that up. Loaded the brush here too. We're going straight down. If we got a little bit over on the red here, it's a-okay because our black lines, our detail lines are gonna hide all of that, so we don't need to worry. Hey, Miss Johnny, how are you, honey? Okay. Getting that nice and smooth here. All right. Let me throw that brush in the water. We're gonna go to a little bit smaller of a brush so that we can get in between the stars. Here, let me see. I'm trying to find my small brush. There we go. Okay, this is a #2 flat brush that I'm using. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just load this flat. Flat brushes are a little bit different than angles, but not by much. You just gotta make sure that your corners are nice and watch where you're putting. So with this one, we're gonna just kind of make a nice swoop motion. Instead of letting that angle, we're just using that corner instead of using the angles on the angle brushes. But no reason to be afraid of flat brushes. I know I've kind of always leaned towards the angle, and I do love myself my angle brushes, but a lot of the angle brushes don't come in these little smaller ones, so it makes it a little bit harder when you got these little tight areas with the stars. And when you have such dark coloring, it's easier to have the white be the back and then paint around than try and add on top, because you're gonna have to add a lot of white to get that blue not to show through. So a lot of people ask me, I don't know where to start with what color. And I always say, do your white first, then add on top. We could have started with blue first. I was wanting to get rid of all of that white because I know that white's a little bit boring to watch me paint. And I like to start showing you guys some color so you can see what's going on with the sign. Because I knew we'd have a little bit more time painting these stars. All right, so we're just gonna line here, make a nice little swoosh. Also moving our sign around is also going to help a lot with getting those angles that we're needing. And then coming back through with that detail brush is really going to help smooth out and really make those stars look really nice and pretty. Because sometimes you can't just get them looking all good until you get that detail line on there, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm just going to smooth this out. We're getting there. So this flat brush, I'm going to go towards me, then away. It's going to give us that nice sharpness to the star. And then when you're working with small brushes, they're not going to hold as much paint. So you are going to need to come back a lot more to get your paint loaded with some paint loaded. Now I wouldn't dip your paintbrush all the way in. I'd only go about halfway, or you're gonna be getting too much paint and it's gonna get globby on your paintbrush. And then you're just working with a lot of paint, and that's when you can start having a lot of mess and getting over paint going on and stuff like that. That's when people get a little discouraged. So only go about halfway with your paint on your brush. Don't dip it all the way in. All right, believe it or not, we are almost done. So I'm really loving this blue, but I'm not loving that it's not a one and done kind of blue. Most blue that you get will be that way, especially with my Delta paint that I love. But like I said, you can get this Delta brand acrylic paint that I like to use. I don't have any affiliates or anything. I wish I did, but I don't. You can get that through Plaid website. You can also get it from Joann's, some Joann's. I learned not all Joann's are equal. And Hobby Lobby carries it as well as Target. They carry a small little selection of it, but hey, it's better than none, right? And most of what they cover and have are some of my favorites that I use all the time. So just gonna get this little spot right here. All right, we're gonna let that dry for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to that 3/8 angle, and we'll do a second coat here on these. And it looks like the second coat is gonna be perfect. We're not gonna have any more of the blotchiness, which I can see that you can see that on camera. So we're gonna just smooth that out. There we go. I really love this blue. This is called Ultra Blue. And I believe I found this one at Hobby Lobby. I just realized I didn't do the edges, so I'll hurry and do the edges. Hey Cheryl, I didn't see that you popped on. How are you, cutie? How's the house coming along? So for these edges, if you can see, I'm just kind of going right where the stars are. I could do the whole thing if I wanted to. Not really gonna. Oh, and I did get there. Okay, perfect. Let me throw just a little bit more on here. I'm thinking this is a 3-coat. Which means ultra blue is not going to be my favorite. But it's so pretty in color. Don't you think the blue is so pretty? I hate when I have to do lots of coats. All right. Okay, I'll leave that then. We'll go back to the small 2 flat brush. It's a number 2. I know, right? I love the color. I'm just not too happy with having to paint it 3 times. I love those one and done colors, you know? Okay. We'll get this going real quick here. Definitely gonna throw the heat gun on the star part so we can hurry and get that done. And then we can get to some shading and throwing some gray in here as well. Do some highlighting, and I think we will have some cute little firecracker, fireworks, whatever the heck we want to call these things. Hey Rhea, how are you, sweetie? Grab right there. This little corner. Okay. Heat gun, whoa, on for just 1 second. Low heat. We don't want our paint to bubble and move fast. Okay, let's do one more. Of these coats real quick here. Here we go. So what are you guys all working on? Anything fun? I have such a hard time getting into fall when summer hasn't even started, but I know we gotta do it, right? Gotta get it done. Fall and sports is what it's looking like on the calendar. If you've seen Lori's calendar. Starting fall, finishing up a flamingo wreath. Oh, how cute. I love flamingos. My littlest, Haley, she has been obsessed with flamingos for quite some time. So she loves them. Okay. Oh. This is what I also do with my new bottles. So when they're in the holder, I can kind of see what color I'm looking at. Last week of teaching a virtual class. Ooh. So you're prepping for a next week's class. How fun is that? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play with the drizzle gray for just a second. We'll throw some fun in here. I think what we can do is we'll grab a 3 round. I'm just gonna get my brush in here. I'm just using the lid. But what we're going to do is just do a stripe here, do a stripe there, and then I think let's do 2 stripes here. I'm gonna clean that up. My brush kind of dragged there. Grab one right here. Okay. And I lied, we're not gonna be done with the blue. I'm gonna throw some blue in here. Going to use the lid, but remember I did put paint there. Okay, so lid again. My brush nice to a point. All I'm doing is just adding a thin little blue line right through. Right there with that one. And I think I'm going to leave that one alone. Okay. Just to throw some pop in there. Hey Sherry, how are you? A course for the Navy. How cool is that? Okay, next color is going to be the crocus yellow. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and use my plate here for this because we're going to do shading with the darker yellow around the edges just to make it pop a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get a bigger brush, a little bit bigger than that. That should work. This is a 3/4 inch flat brush. And I'm using the crocus yellow. I did get my brush just a little bit wet, so we'd have a better, smoother way. All right. So we're just getting around the edges, and then we can go crazy with the inside here. Same as how we would do a coloring book when we were younger. Kind of paint, or we kind of colored those edges first to then be able to scribble on the inside. Same kind of concept. taking the angle brush, curving, same here, just getting that edge of my angle brush and making a nice straight line. There we go. And crocus yellow, this is one of my favorite yellows. A lot of yellows you do have to use a couple of coats for because it does show through. Crocus yellow is not the case. It's also one of my favorite yellows for Easter because it's bright, but it's not quite pastel, but it's not you know, neon bright yellow, and not, you know, so it's just one of those nice in between colors. I love to use it for like chicks and stuff like that too. Fall, we probably won't be using it as much. A fall yellow that I really like to use, since we're going into that and you guys can start finding them, I like straw. Goldenrod is another one that I really like too. Oh, how fun, Linda. My little girl, Haley, my youngest, Briley likes to paint a little bit, but she likes to draw, and she uses those watercolor pens and stuff like that, but she doesn't really like to do the wood painting as much. But Haley, she loves my scraps and all sorts of stuff, loves to do those kind of things. So daubers are definitely fun for them. It's a great way to get them started. And they also have for little kids, they're triangle handled brushes. You can get them at Hobby Lobby, but they are really nice for their dexterity to hold on to, are those triangle brushes. I would highly suggest maybe getting her some of those to work with. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna just do a little bit of shading right through here. And I'm gonna use just normal yellow, which is a little bit darker, maybe. I ordered a bunch of paint and I was like, I'm just gonna get the last bit of my paint out of these bottles before restocking, but might be restocking sooner than I know. Okay. I'm also going to show you guys, instead of me always using my water, I'm going to show you, because I've really started liking this. Hey there, Teresa, is a median float. It is really nice. You don't have to use the water as much. A little bit goes a long way. I probably got way too much even for that. But it coats your brush nice. And so what we're gonna do is just get the darker yellow at the tip and the lighter yellow at the bottom. Kind of move that back and forth just a little bit. And then what we're gonna do is just go right across the edge here. And if you can see, I'll bring it up a little bit because I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Yeah, you can. It gives that nice dark effect. That splash of color there. It's really great for shading. And the median helps it from drying too fast, so you can work with it just a little bit better. And it does wash out of your brush really easily. hope you guys, yep, you guys can see that on camera. At least I can on mine. But I will bring it up a little bit for you guys so you can see, but can you kind of see how it brings in that brightness? A little bit darker of a shade. So that is why I love that medium a little bit more, is it just, you don't have to play as much with the water there. Throw that crocus back in here. All right, let the fun begin. So I poured a bunch of black paint for a previous project that I had behind me that I was working on, and instead of pouring it back in, I was just going to reuse some. I am going to throw a little bit of water in my black, just because when I like to do the detail lines, it is a little bit better to have your black watered down. It just goes a little bit smoother. So that's why I do it. And let me see. That is not the brush I want. All right, we'll use this one. This one is a number 1 liner brush. I'm gonna go ahead and get these tails added in here. Clean this up just real quick there. There we go. Okay. Just cleaning up where my brush dragged. It's really hard with these liner brushes to keep a lot of paint on them. That's why I like to have that watered down too, is it does help with this, with smooth movements a little bit more. Hey Yolanda, how are you? All right. There we go. All right, I'm gonna add a little swishy to the corner to give some little fun depth. You could add little polka dots or whatever you would like. I just like adding my little swishes. It's kind of my signature. So I'm just outlining, kind of like with a coloring book, how you have outlines, doing that same thing. When I get to the edges, I like to come in just a little bit because it does give depth to your project a little bit more. Kind of makes it pop a little. Going to outline right here. Hey Susan, how are you, hon? Right there. And one more there. Just throw a little. There we go. Giving a cute little pop there. I'm going to add a little squiggly on this side just to kind of balance them all out. grab right here. Okay. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. I'm really happy that the weather didn't mess up this live. We were getting some pretty heavy storms. I don't know if Dawn was getting them too, but they were coming down there for a minute. All right, so now we're going to just go around these stars. And this is where you're really gonna see those stars start popping. Get enough paint there. There we go. Clean that up a little bit. And just one little spot more and we will be done with the lining. Had a lot of rain this morning. Yeah, it was coming down so hard. Hit about 5 o'clock and just buckets, it felt like. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and use some white for highlighting. Oh, I missed one little spot here. I just noticed. Let me get this real quick, you guys. There we go. And you know what? I'm kind of thinking a cute little swish there would add a little personality. Okay, so for highlighting, I am extremely light-handed with it. I kind of just very gently add the highlights. If my brush touches, that's good. If it doesn't, it's okay. Unless I really think it needs to go there, we just let it be. Highlighting is where everything kind of just comes together. I know a lot of people can be really afraid of highlighting, but honestly, I think it's the best thing you can do. It just makes everything so much better in my opinion. All right, we're gonna add just a nice cute little stripe here, one right there, same right here. And just one right there. I think I might add just a small little amount, and all this is going to do is just make this one look a little bit bigger and pop out more by adding that little extra highlight on both sides here. We're going to go ahead and just a little bit here. And like I said, we are not letting it touch all the way, just really being light with it. And I didn't want to add black here because I really wanted it to look, you know, kind of on fire a little bit. So there we go. Now, of course, we could always leave it like this, but you know me, you guys. I can't do that. We gotta add some glitter. Let me pull my glitter and we can decide what we want to do. All right. So, maybe. I think that would be cute. Okay. Here are our options. We can do some red glitter and do where the red is, so it would pull all of the trio. We can do the blue, or we can do some iridescent and throw in just where all the white kind of is, or we can do just where the gray is. I might throw some gray in these bottom ones just a little bit. What are we thinking? Super cute, thank you. What glitter do we think? Sometimes I just instantly know with glitter which one I want. Sometimes it takes me a minute. Thinking I'm kind of going for the silver. What do y'all think? Silver? All right. I'm not seeing the comments in, so I'm either really, really lagging. Iridescent on white. Loves how the blue pops. Okay, Johnny. See you, sweetheart. I know that blue is fun, huh? Okay. Let's do white then. We can do white. Let me grab the iridescent. Okay, we will do iridescent. Let me grab one of my Mod Podge brushes here. Now remember, these are we'll do the white. I pulled the white, we'll do white. These are the brushes that no longer, oh crap, I just spilled that all over my hand. Watch what we're doing. At least we didn't get it all over the sign, right? These are the brushes that are no longer the best to paint with. The bristles have kind of gotten messed up a little bit. That is the brushes that you want to use. You don't want to use your nice, good brushes because you're painting with glue. Glue's not always going to come out of these brushes, so you're kind of using these ones as your last little bit before you have to throw your brushes away. Or you can buy some cheap ones. The dollar store has some cheap ones that you can use. All of that. I've had this one for a while. If you can see, the bristles are pretty beat up on it. That's why it's a good Mod Podge brush. Oh, thank you, Kathy. All right. So here we go with some iridescent. Here, let me wipe this lid off. Okay. I think we'll do the center first here. Kind of go right in here. Throw a little bit on here. Okay. Throw that there. Get this one. And then we will dump the glitter and do the other sides. Okay. Okay, let's get this. Okay. I'm going to take this just for real quick here. So what I'm doing is just kind of scratching off a little bit of the glitter where the lines are, because it does kind of it dulls out the lines just a little bit when you add the glitter. So by doing that, it lets it pop through a little bit more again. I'm really loving this iridescent. Good choice. Sometimes my brain just does not want, it knows it needs the glitter, but we just don't know where we need it or what kind. So I love that you guys inspire me and help me out there. Okay, throw some glitter right here. And yes, I do put my paintbrush all the time in my mouth. It's like that third hand that you need, but you don't have. Also, always make sure that you use parchment paper or computer paper. Never wax paper when you're doing your doing your glitter. The wax will cling on to your glitter and you're never going to get it back off. Computer paper, it works, it will cling to it, but your parchment paper, which is what I've got right here, it is seriously the best to use for glitter, I feel like. So I'm just kind of moving this along using the angle of my brush. I oversaturate my brush with the glitter, or with the Mod Podge too. That's another reason why your brush will go very quickly, is because you do want your brush to have a lot of glue in it to do these. So you can kind of see there. Let me just clean this up real quick. There's not too much that we need to clean up there. Okay, so throw that in there. You guys can kind of see the cute little glitter there. Whoops, we didn't get enough off here. There we go. Ain't that cute? I love it. Hi, Diane. Well, let me flip so you can see this way. So you've got the nice yellow shading to kind of make it pop a little bit more, look more on spark. We've got a little bit of the iridescent going on. Ain't that fun? Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And yes, I know, love me glitter. I love to add glitter to the signs. I think it just makes it pop. It's kind of my thing. I'm a little obsessed with the glitter these days. Very cute. Thank you. So once again, their template is included. I did go ahead and add it in so you guys can cut it if you'd like. And I hope you guys had fun. Let me know if there's something that you'd love to see me paint, or a technique that you've always been wondering about. I'm always game to show you things. And you guys all have a wonderful night, and I'll see y'all. Bye, guys.